Let me ask you something. Have you ever moved through a city and it just felt, for a few seconds, that everything just worked? You didn't think about where to step, you didn't hesitate, you didn't second guess the corner, the ground, what comes next. You just moved and the city moved with you. Most people feel that once in a while, by accident. This video is about why Storm Tracers are built around that feeling, and how flow stops being something you wish for and becomes something right on purpose. Hey, I'm Daniel. I designed Storm Tracers, but more importantly, I think a lot how they're meant to be written and why that matters. This is chapter 2 of the Storm Tracers Manifesto, and this chapter is really about the heart of it all, the way Storm Tracers feel when everything clicks. Quick context. In chapter 0, the prologue, we define what Storm Tracers are. They are electric line skates, but we gave them a new name because the experience needed a new identity. In chapter 1, we talked about why Storm Tracers exist. Not because skating failed, but because the city still had space that skating hadn't fully claimed yet. This chapter, chapter 2, is about how Storm Tracers are meant to be reading through that space. But I mean, people throw the word flow a lot around, right? But when I say flow, I'm not talking about going fast. Flow is what happens when movement keeps its energy alive. When you don't constantly kill momentum just to build it up again. It's that feeling when you don't have to reset yourself every few seconds. When motion carries motion. Just like wind. You feel it when you go through a corner and you don't lose speed. You feel it when the ground changes, when the surface changes, you don't go panicking. If the path isn't perfect. And once you feel it, you never want to give it up. Flow isn't just something your body does. It's something your mind commits to. It's the decision to not stop when things got awkward. It's the instinct of adjusting yourself instead of giving up space. It's choosing progression over interruption. Traditional skating often pushes you to break that mindset. You stop to push, you stop to reset. You stop because the terrain demands it. Storm Tracers don't remove difficulty, they change how difficulty feels. You don't quit movement, you reinterpret it. One of the most interesting things about Storm Tracers is how they subtly change your technique. When you have propulsion, cracks don't hit you the same way, so you don't need to prepare for the cracks the same way. It's just different. Since momentum carries you through moments that would normally throw you off balance. And when pavement gets rough, you don't need to tense as much. You stay softer and you stay centered. Even when riding on one foot, feels very different. You're not fighting gravity or friction the whole time. There's support there, helping you keep the line. Bad pavement stops being something you fear or avoid. It becomes something you read. And suddenly, parts of the city you used to avoid start to feel interesting. So let me paint a hypothetical picture. Imagine someone strapping their Storm Tracers and running through the city. No rush, no performance. They reach a narrow path. The kind that would be too tight to skate without being all awkward, trying to push on one foot. But this time, they do not hesitate. They glide straight through it. The ground changes, tiles turn to cracked concrete, there's texture unevenness, little imperfections everywhere. And instead of bracing, they just stay relaxed. Momentum does the work. They approach a corner that usually would make them slow down, but they don't stop, but they don't rush either. They flow through it. And in that moment, something clicks. The city doesn't feel like a lot of restrictions anymore. It feels like it's offering possibilities. Not because the city itself has changed, but because the way you move through it changed. Everyone wants to feel confident moving through space. Everyone wants motion without anxiety. Storm Tracers aren't about mastering tricks first. They are about lowering the barrier to feeling capable. The learning is still there, skill still matters, but fear doesn't dominate the experience anymore. And that changes everything. Now imagine this feeling shared, riding with the people that see the city the same way you do. Because us skaters, we do see the city differently. We look at the pavement, the ground, and we have feelings about it, right? And with Storm Tracers, this just feels better overall. And everything you learned to feel about the obstacles changes. So when you're riding with these kind of people, you're not competing, you are exploring. You start sharing routes, naming sections, developing spots that didn't exist before, and crews form naturally. They have names, they have identity, not because someone told them to, but because movement creates culture. Storm Tracer culture isn't loud or flashy, it's quiet confidence. You recognize it in how people move. And this isn't about dominating the city, right? It's about aligning with it. Storm Tracers don't force paths, they trace them. And once you start moving their way, you realize flow isn't rare. It's just waiting for the right conditions. And in the next chapter, we're gonna talk about what happens when this movement scales. When individuals become crews, crews become regions. And Storm Tracers stop being an idea and become a direction. And that's chapter 3. Flow isn't speed, flow isn't force. It's movement that refuses to die. And once you learn to ride away, the city never feels the same again. Trace the storm.